Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naishtike Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurun-militam Yena Tasmai Shri-gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa-kada-mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna-prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 6, Creation of the Universal Form. We are in the third section of this chapter. Text 27 to 33, we are going to see development of the planets, living entity, and subtle Varuna. So currently we are at text 30. मुखतो वर्तत ब्रह्म पुरुषस्य कुरुद्वः यस्तु मुखत्वाद् वर्णानां मुख्यो भूर्ब्राह्मणो गुरुः. Translation.
O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the virāṭa, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. Purport. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, the four orders of human society developed with the order of the body of the gigantic form. The bodily divisions are the mouth, arms, waist, and legs. Those who are situated on the mouth are called Brahmanas. Those who are situated on the arms are called Kshatriyas. Those who are situated on the waist are called Vaishyas. And those who are situated on the legs are called Shudras. Everyone is situated in the body of the Supreme in his gigantic Viśvarūpa form. In terms of the four orders, therefore, no caste is to be considered degraded because of being situated on a particular part of the body. In our own bodies, we do not show any actual difference in our treatment towards the hands or legs. Each and every part of the body is important, although the mouth is the most important of the bodily parts. If other parts are cut off from the body, a man can continue his life, but if the mouth is cut off, one cannot live. Therefore, this most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of the Brahmanas who are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom but to mundane affairs cannot be called a Brahmana, even if he is born of a Brahmana family or father. To have a Brahmana father does not qualify one as a Brahmana. The main qualification of a Brahmana is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. The Vedas are situated on the mouth of the Lord, and therefore, anyone who is inclined to the Vedic wisdom is certainly situated on the mouth of the Lord, and he is a Brahmana. This inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any particular caste or community. Anyone from any family or from any part of the world may become inclined to the Vedic wisdom, and that will qualify him as a real Brahmana. A real Brahmana.
Section.
Sure.
So now, O Kurudvaha. Kurudvaha is the chief of the Guru dynasty, Parikshit Maharaj. Vedic wisdom became manifest from the mouth of the virāṭa, the gigantic form. And those who are inclined to the Vedic knowledge are called as Brahmanas. They are the natural teachers and the spiritual masters of all orders of the society. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Bhagavad Gita mentions about Chaturvaranyam, and here is the detailing of the Bhagavad Gita verse: Chaturvaranyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashah. That how the Chaturvaranya, when Lord Krishna says maya srishtam, this is how the Chaturvaranya is originated. So Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge is given in the seed form. Bhagavatam, the knowledge is expanded in detail and with examples. Okay, so that is the difference in Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bhagavad Gita was spoken just in 40 minutes. It was emergency literature, and Lord quickly spoke Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna reinstated. But the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is further expanded in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Here we see Chaturvaranya concept further expanded. Now, the four Varanas, they are all situated on the transcendental bodily form of the virāṭ-puruṣa. So the bodily divisions, Prabhupada says, there is a mouth, arm, waist, and legs. And similarly, Brahmanas come from the mouth of virāṭ-puruṣa, Kshatriyas come from the arm, Vaishyas come from the waist, and the Shudras come from the legs. Again, here nowhere there is a mention of question of by birth. It is always guna karma vibhagashah. People forget this guna karma vibhagashah, and then a lot of problem happens. Varnashram just becomes degraded as the caste system, and then there is a entire lot of other things to discuss. But reference to Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is always guna karma vibhagashah. Srila Prabhupada says, just like in our own body, we have these four divisions of the limbs, avayav, and we have no distinction between. Nobody treats legs differently and arms differently. Not that. One will feed the arms and legs will be starving. Even if one is going to the gym, it is not that. One will look very funny if he is working on the biceps and everything, and the legs are like the two sticks standing, right? He will work for the overall development of the body. Similarly, from the universal perspective, all the Varnas are equally important, but still Brahmanas are more important. Again, here the Brahmanas are by guna karma vibhagashah. So why? Because Prabhupada says one may live without hands or legs, but one cannot live without mouth. So the Vedic knowledge is extremely important. And anyone who is inclined to the Vedic knowledge is called as Brahmana. Prabhupada says here, anyone from any family, any part of the world, any caste or community. And Srila Prabhupada personally exemplified this by giving Brahman initiation to not only to all the castes within Hindu, even to the Christians, even to the Muslims. Srila Prabhupada gave the Brahman initiation. Right. There is one devotee of Srila Prabhupada. He was the first Palestine devotee who to become a devotee. And he became a devotee and he passed away also as a devotee. Very, very amazing personality he was. Right. So, कोनो जाति भेद, कोनो धर्म भेद, कोनो राष्ट्र भेद, कोनो भेदा भेद नाय. Very famous statement by Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So there is absolutely no bar. The main qualification, Srila Prabhupada says, is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. That is the most important qualification. And if one society, if someone, one person, one society and one personality who has done this to the extreme is ISKCON, right? So in ISKCON, one can come from any family, any society, any jati, any community, any caste, any dharma also, right? And he can become by his own advancement in spiritual life, by his own realizations, by his own application of the spiritual principles in the life, he can literally become one of the governing body commission which is heading ISKCON. So Chaturvaranya is always based on guna karma vibhagashah. And this is how, so whenever we talk of somebody situated on leg, somebody situated on the mouth, so Prabhupada says simply born to a Brahmana father doesn't make one Brahmana. Just like Dronacharya was called as Brahmana, but Ashwathama was called as Dvijabandhu. He was a relative of a Brahmana. He was never called as a Brahmana directly. Right. Yeah, please continue.
A real Brahmana is a natural teacher or spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord, the personality of Godhead, and that is the end of Vedic knowledge or Vedanta. One who is situated in the impersonal Brahman and has no information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may become a Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master. It is said in the Padma Purana,
Yeah. षट्कर्मणि पुनो विप्रो मंत्रतंत्र विशारदः अवैष्णवो गुरुर्न स्यात् वैष्णवो श्वपचो गुरुः.
an impersonalist can become a qualified Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master unless and until he is promoted to the stage of a Vaishnava or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, in great authority, Lord Chaitanya, the great authority of Vedic wisdom in the modern age, stated, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Kene Naya, Yei Krishna Tattva Veta Sei Guru Haya. A person may be a Brahmana or a Shudra or a Sannyasi, but if he happens to be well versed in the science of Krishna, then he is fit to become a spiritual master. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 8.128. The qualification then of a spiritual master is not to be a qualified Brahmana, but to be well versed in the science of Krishna. One who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahmana, and only a Brahmana who is a pure Vaishnava and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master.
Now next Srila Prabhupada explains this real Brahmana. No, Prabhupada is the real Brahmana and the pseudo Brahmana. Pseudo Brahmana means one who is simply claiming to be a Brahmana because of the birth, but no natural inclination to the Vedic wisdom or training in the Vedic wisdom. So now we come to real Brahmana, who may be born, Prabhupada has already mentioned this, any family, any society, any caste, any community, or any dharma. Okay. But he is inclined to the Vedic literature and very well trained in the Vedic literature. Such a personality is the natural teacher or the spiritual master. Unless one has the Vedic knowledge, one cannot become spiritual master. Right. And what is the Vedic knowledge? The ultimate end of the Vedic knowledge, Vedanta, is Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo. The ultimate conclusion of Vedic knowledge is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ei Krishna Tattva Vetta. And therefore, Padma Purana says, one may be very expert Brahmana, but if he is not a Vaishnava, he cannot be real Guru. Shat karma nipuno vipro. Shat karma nipuno. He may be extremely nipun, extremely skillful in performing yajna, yajan, patan, pathan, and other activities. Mantra tantra visharadaha. Or he may be visharad. Even the degrees these days in Sangeet Visharad, Ayurved Visharad. Visharad means expert. The very great expert. He may be great expert in mantra tantra visharadaha. A Vaishnavo Gurur Nasyat. But if he is not a Vaishnava, he cannot be a Guru. And however, just to explain the contrast, however, Vaishnavo Shvapacho Guru. Shvapacha means Vaishnava, even if he's coming from a Chandal family, who are the dog eaters. Shva means dog, Pachaha means eat, cooking. And one may be coming from a dog eater's family, but if he is a Vaishnava, he can be accepted as a Guru. This is how the literatures really present it. Right? A Vaishnavo Guru Nasyad, Vaishnavo Shvapacho Guru. And this is confirmed by Srila Prabhupada says, by Lord Chaitanya, who is the great authority of Vedic wisdom in modern age. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says? Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Kenenai, Ei Krishna Tattva Vetta, Sei Guru Hai. One may be coming from the Brahmana family, sannyasi, or one may be coming from Shudra family. Ei Krishna Tattva Vetta. But one who is well versed in the science of Krishna, Sei Guru Hai. So becoming Vaishnava is far more important than just being born as a Brahmana. One may come from any family, Shvapacha family as well. But so Prabhupada says here, so the real Brahmana means he's inclined, conversant, and trained in the Vedic wisdom. And when the Vedic wisdom matures and goes to Krishna Tattvavetta, then one can actually become the spiritual master, say Guru Hai. Text 31. बाहुभ्यो वर्तत क्षत्रम् क्षत्रियस्तद् अनुव्रतः यो जात्स्त्रायते वर्णान् पौरुषः कण्टकक्षतात्. Translation.
Thereafter, the power of protection was generated from the arms of the gigantic Virat form, and in relation to such power, the Kshatriyas also came into existence by following the Kshatriya principle of protecting society from the disturbance of thieves and miscreants. Purport: In the Brahmanas, as the Brahmanas are recognized by their particular qualification of inclination towards the transcendental knowledge of Vedic wisdom, so also the Kshatriyas are recognized by the power to protect society from the disturbing elements of thieves and miscreants. The word Anuvrata is significant. A person who follows the Kshatriya principles by protecting society from thieves and miscreants is called a Kshatriya, not the one who is simply born a Kshatriya. The conception of the caste system is always based on quality and not on the qualification of birth. Birth is an extraneous consideration. It is not the main feature of the orders and divisions. In Bhagavad Gita 18.41 to 44, the qualifications of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are specifically mentioned, and it is understood that all such qualifications are needed before one can be designated as belonging of a particular group.
Yeah, so Bahubhyor, from the arms of the Virāṭ-Rupa appeared the Kshatriyas, who came into existence for protecting the society from the disturbance of thieves and the miscreants. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Brahmana is known for his inclination towards the transcendental knowledge, whereas Kshatriya is known for his power to protect and inclination towards the warfare. Yuddhe chapi apalayanam. This is a Kshatriya. And that's why we see that, whenever the child is born, they will keep, at a particular samskara is there, they will keep all these four things around. They will keep in one place the books, they will keep another place, they will keep some arms like Dhanush, Ban, and other things. A third place they will keep a lot of money, gold, and everything. And fourth place they will keep something like the activities required for serving the other society, others in the society. And they will try to find out what is the natural inclination of the child. Right. And it is very important samskara. Even if we may not do the technically the samskara per se, the samskara, but to identify the natural inclination of the child and push through the child, and train the child in that inclination. So it is very important. Otherwise, we may be having a mango sapling, and we may be expecting some, something like watermelon from that sapling. So here, their natural inclination of a Brahmana is towards the Vedic wisdom, whereas the natural inclination of the Kshatriya is towards the protection of the society. And therefore, the word Anuvrataha is explained here. Anuvrataha means they will follow that vrata by protecting the society. So this is how the caste system is always based on guna karma vibhagashaha. The birth is never mentioned here. Prabhupada says birth is just extraneous consideration and is not the main feature of the divisions. The division is always based on guna karma vibhagashaha and the lakshana. Like Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, Brahma karma svabhavajam, Kshatra karma svabhavajam, Krishi goraksha vanijya. What is the quality and activity of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra? It is very, very specifically mentioned. Right. And there is no mention of birth as the qualification. It is always the mention of guna karma and the lakshana that personality has. Yeah, please continue.
Lord Vishnu is always mentioned as the Purusha in all Vedic scriptures. Sometimes the living entities are also mentioned as Purushas, although they are essentially Purusha Shakti, Para Shakti, or Para Prakriti, the superior energy of the Purusha. Illusioned by the external potency of the Purusha, the Lord, the living entities falsely think of themselves as the Purusha, although they actually have no qualifications. The Lord has the power to protect. Of the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, the first has the power to create, the second has the power to protect, and the third has the power to destroy. The word Purusha is significant in this verse because the Kshatriyas are expected to represent the Purusha, Lord in giving protection to the Prajas, or all those who are born in the land and water. Protection is therefore meant for both man and the animals. In modern society, the prajas are not protected from the hands of thieves and miscreants. The modern democratic state, which has no kshatriyas, is a government of the Vaishyas and Shudras, and not of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas as formerly. Maharaj Yudhishthir and his grandson Maharaj Parikshit were typical Kshatriya kings, for they gave protection to all men and animals. When the personification of Kali attempted to kill a cow, Maharaj Parikshit at once prepared himself to kill the miscreant, and the personification of Kali was banished from his kingdom. That is the sign of Purusha, or the representative of Lord Vishnu. According to Vedic civilization, a qualified Kshatriya monarch is given the respect of the Lord because he represents the Lord by giving protection to the prajas. Modern elected presidents cannot even give protection from theft cases, and therefore one has to take protection from an insurance company. The problem of modern human society are due to the lack of qualified Brahmanas and Kshatriyas and the over influence of the Vaishnavas, Vaishyas and Shudras by so-called general franchise.
Further, Srila Prabhupada explains, Lord Vishnu is always mentioned as Purushaha. So here we see that. Yo jatstrayate varanan Paurushaha kantakakshatat. So Paurushaha is the supreme personality of Godhead. Sometimes even the living entity is called as Purusha, and the matter is called as Prakriti. But this Purusha is more from the sense of the energy of the original Purusha or the Parashakti or Paraprakriti. So there is Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti. So in that sense, he is also living entity, sometimes called as Purusha. But he is not the original Purusha in the sense that the supremely independent Paurusha. And the living entity falsely thinking oneself as the Supreme Lord uh, actually is Prabhupada says living entity has no qualification of being the supreme personality of neither constitutional position, neither living entity wants really to be there because that's not his what he is actually. But still, the word Purusha is very significant here because Kshatriyas are expected to act on the level of Purusha for the common society. Like Purusha will give the protection, and similarly, Kshatriyas are supposed to give the protection. And therefore, Kshatriyas are mentioned as direct representative of the Supreme Lord, Naradevata, right? Or, Naradev. The Kshatriya king is always called as Naradev. Brahmanas were called as Bhudev, right? And such powerful kings, they were known as Rajarshi. They were simultaneously Raja by their activities and Rishi by their character. They were Rajarshi. Maharaj Yudhishthir and his grandson, Maharaj Parikshit, they were the typical Kshatriya kings. They were Raja by the activities, Rishi by the characters. Modern times we can see such kings like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Krishna Deva Rai, Raja Ranjit Singh of Punjab. They were personalities like this. They were, by activities, they were the king. And by their character, they were the great saintly people. And such personalities are known as Rajarshi. And Rajarshi, they will try to stop the influence of Kali Yuga, just like Parikshit Maharaj. When he saw that a particular the person is trying to beat the cow, he immediately stopped and banished Kali Yuga from his kingdom But understanding plan of the Lord that Kali Yuga is going to start, therefore he spared the life of Kali Yuga and gave him some asara, gave him some shelter within the kingdom. Prabhupada says, for the want of such powerful kings, even, this Raja Ranjit Singh was also very powerful king. You will be very surprised to know, you can read this in Wikipedia also. Originally, the Kohinoor diamond was with Raja Ranjit Singh. And Raja Ranjit Singh, when he was ruling Punjab province near Jammu Kashmir, and a lot of part of Pakistan's Punjab province. So he was a powerful king, very, very powerful Hindu king he was, Hindu Sikh king. And he wanted to give this, offer this Krishna, this Kohinoor diamond to Jagannath deity in Jagannath temple. But somehow he fell very, very sick because of the battle, and he handed over this to his Amatya and the son. And later, these people being not as qualified as Krishna, Raja Ranjit Singh, they just lost the custody, and finally it went to British Museum. Right now it is in London. But this, one can see. And this Raja Ranjit Singh, one day in his kingdom, one cow was stuck up in the wall, and the cow had very big horns, and she was stuck up in the wall. And there was a meeting, and suddenly this news came that the cow is stuck up. And then he asked for suggestion, what can be done? And people were suggesting, his ministers were suggesting different things. And one minister said, maybe we can cut off the horns of the cow, so that because of the horns the cow is stuck up, so that the cow can easily come out. And Raja Ranjit Singh became so angry at this minister, and he said that, what kind of suggestion you are giving? Cutting off the horns of the cow? And he said, there is some fundamental problem in you. And he had a special SIT sat on him, and they said, find out his life. And then they inquired him, his mother, and everybody. And then they realized that when he was in the womb, this minister, who was like in 40, 50 years old, but his mother, when he was in the womb, she was living next to a butcher's house. And she used to have, time to time, she used to see the butcher mistreating the cow. And the king said that because in the Janma Samskar you have seen cow being mistreated like this, therefore you have the audacity of giving such a suggestion that cut off the horns of the cow. Okay. So this is Raja Ranjit Singh. So such personalities, they are called as Naradevata, who gave protection, Prabhupada says, not only to the men, but also animals. So both are called as Praja. Praja is not just the human beings, both men and the animals, they are called as Praja, and especially the cow. So modern society has no more such Naradevata. And therefore, Prabhupada says, for the want of the protection, people are forced to take insurance. Right. And insurance is very important because there are no powerful Kshatriyas. One must have insurance. Okay. So just a side comment on insurance. One must have at least the term insurance, which is like at least 30 times of your annual salary. And one must have health insurance, because anytime, of course, that when you pay the EMI of 40,000, 50,000 per year, it is really painful. But the medicine is very, very costly. And we have seen many families, dozens of people completely wiped out of their all savings with just 15, 20 days of hospitalization. Bills were to the tune of 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 60 lakhs, and those things. So term insurance, medical insurance, and there is something also called as personal accident insurance. Home insurance is also very important, which is generally nobody takes, but which is also at a very minimal rate. This you just scroll on the Google, you will get this. But insurance is important. Of course, Prabhupada write this in a negative connotation here, that because there is no Nara Devata, the protection has to be sought from the insurance company. But there is the reality that there is no Nara Devata. And Prabhupada says the modern human problems, they are because there is there is no qualified Brahmana and Kshatriya, and so-called Vaishyas and Shudras, they have taken over the society. You will be really surprised to know there are so many conspiracy theories that entire Afghan war was there. This is the US conspiracy theory. so that there was $1 trillion, the unaccounted $, within within American military, and to neutralize this finance, they just started another war. So there are so many theories like that, and it's not that they are all untrue. There is some part of truth in those theories, right? Text 32. विशोवर्तन्ते तस्योर्वोर् लोकवृत्ति करिर्विभो वैश्यस्तद्भुद्भवो वार्तां नृणां यः समवर्तयत्. Translation.
The means of livelihood of all person, namely production of grain and their distribution to the prajas who was generated from the thing of the Lord's gigantic form. The mercantile men who take charge of such executions and called Vaishyas.
But human society's means of living is clearly mentioned here as Vishya or
agriculture and the business of distributing agriculture products, which
What's that?
industrial is an artificial means of livelihood. Our large-scale industry especially is the source of all the problems of society. In Bhagavad Gita, also the duties of the Vaishyas who are engaged in Vesa are stated as cow protection, agriculture, and business. We have already discussed that the human being can safely depend on the cow and agricultural land for his livelihood. The exchange of produce by banking and transportation is a branch of this type of living. The Vaishyas are divided into many subsections. Some of them are called Kshatri of landowners. Some are called Krishna of land titles, and some of them are called Tila Vanika or a grains raiser. Some are called Gandha Vanika or merchants of spices, and some are called Suvarna Vanik or a merchant in the gold of and banking. The Brahmanas are the teachers and spiritual masters. The Kshatriyas protect the citizens from the hand of thieves and merchants. And the Vaishyas are in charge of production and distribution. The Shudras and the unintelligent class of men who cannot act independently in any of the above mentioned activities and meant for serving the three higher classes for their livelihood. Formerly, the Brahmanas were giving all the necessities of life by the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas because they had no time to spend making a living. The Kshatriyas would collect taxes from the Vaishyas and Shudras, but the Brahmanas were expert from paying income tax or land revenue. The system of human society was so nice that there were no political, social, and economic upheavals. The different castes of Varna classification and therefore essential for maintaining a peaceful human society. Haribol.
Yeah, so we'll just quickly see this in 1 minute. We are already crossed the time. The means of livelihoods of all persons, that is the production of the grains and their distribution, is the activities of the Vaishyas, and they generated from the thighs of the gigantic universal form. And they Vaishya undertake such executions. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Vaishya community, which comes from the Vishya or the Vish, comes from the agriculture and the business of distributing agriculture products, which is the prime human necessity and not so much of the industrial artificial needs. So Bhagavad Gita, the Vaishya activity is referred as Krishi Goraksha Vanijya, Krishi is agriculture, Goraksha is cow protection, and Vanijya is business, which is largely within the agricultural product. And by such banking means storage, and storage, transportation, and distribution, the agricultural community thrived, Vaishya community. Kshatriya community thrived by giving protection to them. Brahmana community thrived by spreading the Vedic knowledge. And Shudra community thrived by serving all the upper three classes in whatever way they were required. And thus, Brahmanas, they did not work for the livelihood. Entire life was dedicated for the Samaj Hita, uplifting the society. Kshatriyas, they gave the protection and they extracted taxes from the Vaishyas, and Brahmanas were not taxed, neither income tax nor a land revenue, because they were not the earning members of the society. And this system, Prabhupada says, was so nice that there was no political, social, or economic upheaval for thousands of years, like we see French Kranti and this and that, or Soviet Russia. But this system of Varnashram, ideal true Varnashram, Daivi Varnashram, was so systematic. And Prabhupada says, and this system is very much essential for maintaining peaceful human society. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Thank you,
you, everyone.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
जेवायचंय का?